Welcome to Joyful Jen Yoga. This is the first practice I'm posting in 2021, and it's a restorative practice. So the aim of our practice today is to relax, to reflect, to feel rejuvenated and ready to take on the new year. So I have with me a bolster, 2 blocks, and a blanket. You could use a towel, books, a pillow, whatever you have nearby that will help to make this practice comfortable. So as we get started, make sure you are warm enough. You might put socks on or a sweatshirt. We won't be moving a lot. So it's really nice to even have an extra blanket to cuddle up with, but really do take time to get yourself set up, to feel ready, to relax, which sometimes that in itself is its own process, right? So arrive on your mat. You might sit on the edge of a blanket or a bolster or a pillow. And then start to let your eyes soften closed. Find your just right seat, so adjust your pelvis so it's neutral. You can let your palms face up to receive, to invite in new energy, maybe new goals, maybe a new outlook. Most everybody is looking forward to new beginnings, hopefulness, maybe change. Persistence, resilience, healing. What is it that you need in this new year? This practice is meant to be time to reflect and to receive, to be open to all the good that we might be inviting in, we may be manifesting. This is the first year in many years where I haven't led a vision boarding workshop in the beginning of the year. It's an interesting feeling to think about these things, but then to simply do them by ourselves, right? Sometimes that's better. It's easier to turn inward. As nice as it is to be in community and to share energy with your friends and your fellow yogis, sometimes it's this time where we're by ourselves, where there are fewer distractions, except for the ones we make up in our own mind. Watch what comes up in this practice. Do you resonate with the idea of creating your own stories in your mind? Can you watch when that happens? And can you remind yourself that what you're saying to yourself is indeed a story? It's your perception in that moment, and maybe it's not true. And what feels true to you here in this moment? Is it your breath? Is it your body in this space? And let your eyes flutter open, and we'll set up for our first shape. So this is one of my favorite poses. Some people call it a goddess shape, or I've heard it called the lounge chair. I'm a fan of that one. So maybe you need to envision yourself in your favorite beach or your favorite resort. We'll take our blocks, one on the medium height, one on the highest height, and then we'll create a ramp with our pillow or our bolster. We'll wiggle our bum right up to the edge of the bolster. So I like to be maybe an inch or so sacrum away from the bolster. And then we get to choose what to do with our legs. So we'll lower on back, and maybe you try this a couple times first. So would it be best in your body to extend your legs out? To walk your feet out to the edges of the mat and let your knees knock in like a constructed rest pose? Or would you like to find a butterfly shape or a Baddha Konasana with your legs? If that's the case, find your towel or your blanket and we'll fold it up. Oh, my blanket might need a little assistance here. We'll get the blanket so that it has a fairly long rectangle going on here, maybe this big, and then we'll roll that blanket. Here, I'm letting go of control. My blanket is folded like a mess. That'll be my 2021 goals. Take the blanket, if you're choosing this, right at the top of your ankles and then tuck the tails of the blanket under so it's supporting the back part of your ankles. And the idea here is that your knees won't open too far out to the side. If that's not enough, you could use other blocks or books to help support your legs. You could take pillows underneath your knees. But do find yourself in this shape. Be sure that the angle you've created with the bolster is just right. Adjust mine slightly. So the idea here is to find your just right space. What works for you? Not too much of an angle, but there is a little heart opening here. Hip opening if you've chosen the reclined butterfly shape with your legs. And whatever shape you've chosen here, start to settle in. Allow your body to rest. And as we find that stillness in our physical body, tap into what's going on in your mind today. Do the thoughts flow rapidly into your mind? Or is there more stillness today? Is it somewhere in between? If you're watching a lot of thoughts in that movie that is your mind, acknowledge the thoughts, but then see if you can let them move on through. Acknowledge any pain, any disappointments, any feelings from the past year that might be heavy or burdensome. Take this time to let your mind process. Our heart is open to receive, but there's a balance here of acknowledgement and release. Metaphorical letting go to create space for whatever it is we're inviting in, cultivating, manifesting in this new year. As you settle your physical body and the muscles start to relax, notice your breath. In the inhales and exhales, get a little bit longer here. Instead of forcing your breath, see if you can make it more of an allowance, a space that's been created, a place for your breath to fill up. Continue that sense of opening. And opening to what's new, to what's next, to what's available, to what's possible. Allow 10 more steady breaths here. Allow it to feel messy in your mind. Allow the energy to feel scattered. Allow steadiness. Allow moments of clarity. Allow yourself to show up exactly as you are in this moment. It is all perfect. Staying mindful without any sudden movements. If you're in this reclined butterfly shape, slide your hands to the outsides of your thighs. Help your muscles to draw your knees in. If you're in any other leg position, go ahead and pull your feet to hips width distance, knees pointing up to the sky. Pause a moment. And gently start to roll to your favorite side. Use your elbow, your forearm, your hand to help guide you upright. So we'll keep this ramp that we have here with our bolster and our blocks, or our pillow and our blocks, depending on what's going on in your body. And then we'll find our blanket. We're going to face the ramp we've created and actually use it for our legs this time. So we have our blanket and we'll fold it, or our towel, so that it's kind of this rectangle shape. And from this rectangle shape, we'll fold our blanket in thirds like a letter. So it's not a huge fold, there's maybe 1.5 inches of space. We're going to slide it right where our shoulder blades are. We'll scoot closer to the bolster ramp and allow our arms to stretch over the blanket. So the blanket or towel hits right at the edge of our armpits. Our arms are up like a cactus or out in a T, whatever feels better. And then our legs travel up our little ramp. So it's a very subtle inversion for our legs. Our feet are just maybe a foot or so higher than our heart. And a little shift of perspective. There's still a little lift underneath your heart with the blanket, but it's nothing significant. Heart still is open. Eyes can soften back closed. Allowing the torso to feel heavy now. Allow the feet to be light. Allow your breath to be full. Acknowledge any thoughts in this moment. Acknowledge any moments of stillness where the thoughts subside for a moment. Notice how your body melts into the shape or perhaps resists it. Invite lengthening through your torso, release in your legs. And a gentle shift of perspective. Open and receptive to better things to come. Open to connection. Open to community. Open to resilience, to hope. For all the things 2020 has taught me, the things that stick out in my mind are a release of control, a softening and a surrendering to what is. While holding the expectation that tomorrow will be better. And it'll be better because we make it better. Because we do better each day. With our heart, and our thoughts, and our actions. We make the change. So we take this time to restore and to reflect so that we can go out into the world in whatever capacity and be the light, bring joy, to invite others to show their light, to experience their joy, working toward freedom, Take 5 more steady breaths here. Start to wiggle a little through your toes, your ankles. Stretch your arms all the way up overhead. Take a big inhale and a sigh here. We'll do that twice more just to release. Big inhale. Last time. Bend your knees. Roll to your favorite side. Slowly make your way up. We'll set up our next pose. So we'll come into a restorative bridge. You'll want your bolster, your blocks, and maybe your blanket as well. So if you have a really tall bolster or a really thick bolster, you might choose to use a blanket for this instead, but we'll see. It's going to depend on how your body feels. So what we do is we sit right up on the edge of that bolster or pillow, and we'll take our blocks out in front of us. They'll be what our feet rest on. My blocks are cork and they're kind of hard, so I'm going to take my blanket and lay it over the blocks just to make it a little softer. Restorative is all about being comfortable, right? So as you lower on back, be sure that that bolster hits right at your shoulder blades, and then lower the tips of your shoulders down to the ground. Adjust your body. It's another little lift of your heart. Arms out to the sides, palms up if that's comfortable. And then notice how it feels here to be a shifted shape, a new experience. So as you settle in here, I want you to visualize holding a candle in your hands and then being surrounded by the people that you love, that you care most about in your life. You have the lit candle. You have the light. You're holding it right in front of your heart. Walk over to the first person and gently light their candle with yours. And you'll notice their candle lights and your candle is still bright. Walk over to the next person and light their candle. As the first person whose candle you lit turns around and lights the candle of the person behind them. And then the second person whose candle you lit turns around and lights the candle behind them. And we continue in this way until everyone's candle is lit. Everyone is encouraged to shine, to be their best selves, to illuminate all that is around them, and to recognize that their candle hasn't dimmed at all by sharing their light. With your heart open, with your process of reflection, acknowledgement, and awareness, with your own inquiry within, you create space. In that space, you can fill up love and compassion, with hope, with abundance. Working through fear, working through scarcity. Sharing your light, lighting someone else's candle, inspiring those around you to do the same. They say misery loves company, and it's true. But so does hope. So does love. So does growth and healing. As we move into a new year, ask yourself, what is it that you want to share? It doesn't mean that the people in your life won't carry your burdens, your grief, won't share your troubled times. Can we find a balance? In our growth, in our healing, in our building of resilience. We inspire those around us to do the same. Five more breaths in this supported bridge. Heart open. Receiving. Begin again to wiggle through feet, ankles, wrists. And then go ahead and bend one knee at a time. Mindfully now, if you're on that bolster pillow, rolling off to the side. Working your way up. And we'll come to our last pose before Shavasana. So we've experienced a fair amount of heart-opening shapes here in this restorative practice. So let's bring it back in. Let's draw it back into ourselves, coming into a restorative child's pose. Now for our child's pose, our knees can go wide, our toes can come together, and you're in charge, of course. Do you want to take just the bolster out in front of you? Maybe a bolster with a block underneath it, or 2 blocks. I like the 2 block variation, because then I slide my hands under and hold the bolster like a little pillow or a teddy bear or something. So find what works for you. Take a cheek to the mat if that's what's most comfortable. I'll tell you when we're about halfway through the hold so you can switch which cheek is on the pillow or the bolster. Notice if your energy shifts at all in this fold, in this inward facing pose. Can you reflect deeper on what it is that you would like to release? What it is you'd like to invite in? Finding your truth in this moment, in this new beginning. What are you going to fight for? What no longer deserves your energy or your time? What habits might you want to release? What habits might you want to develop? If you have one cheek to the mat, go ahead and switch to the opposite side, just allowing your neck to be even and balanced. What qualities are you inviting into this new year? What stokes your fire? What do you feel in the depths of your core? What lights you up? What dulls your spark? Can you vow here to spend more time and energy doing and being with those who light you up? Maybe releasing that which dulls your spark, that which drains you. There is no status quo anymore. What does this life look like for you? What does it feel like for you? What is there for you to unlearn? What is there for you to learn more about? How can you be more kind to yourself so that your bucket is filled? So that you can go out and be your best self in this world. Take 5 more breaths in this child's pose. beginning to slide your hands underneath your shoulders and press your way up. We'll slide our bolster off to the side and we'll make our way into our Shavasana. What I'll recommend is taking the blocks toward the foot of your mat, placing the bolster on top of it, creating a little Stonehenge shape to rest your legs on. If that doesn't work for you, you can take your pillow or your blanket underneath your knees. Let yourself get comfortable. I like to take my blanket underneath my feet because they're always cold. If you need another blanket over your body, take that. Let yourself settle in, give a wiggle to your hips. Palms can rest out at your side if that's comfortable. And as you find yourself resting in Shavasana, let your bones get heavy. Let your muscles feel like they're melting away into the earth that's supporting you. What's left? When you release that which no longer serves you, when you open your heart, when you inquire within, what's still there? What's beside that candle lit at your heart? What feeds the flame? As always, take as long as you can in your rest. You're ready to move on with your day. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes, stretching long. Take a big breath in and a big releasing sigh out. Draw your knees into your chest. Take a moment to deeply appreciate the you that is here on your mat in this moment. And use your hands to guide your way up to a seat. And when you find yourself seated, find that tall spine, notice if the energy in your body has shifted at all, the thoughts in your mind have shifted or slowed or become just a little quieter. Inhale, arms reach all the way up. Gather in all the energy around you. Draw it down to your heart space. Be that candle. Share your flame. But do take time to restore, to fill up. Bowing your forehead to your fingertips in gratitude for all the lessons that life teaches us. I wish you all abundant joy in this year and all the years to come. Be well.